Just so many bizarre stories coming out about the Starmer regime, and I'm using the word regime here deliberately. Even the fact that they have removed a portrait of Margaret Thatcher from 10 Downing Street. This sounds absolutely bizarre to me.
Hello, lovely viewers, and welcome back to the channel where we serve up British politics with a side of cheeky banter. Today we're diving into the latest political farce, how Starmer is getting blasted by the Aussies, why Reform UK is topping the polls, and why, after 14 years of Conservative rule-veering left, it's high time for a change. Grab your cuppa, this might sting a bit.
Let's talk about the hapless wonder that is the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. He has doubled down on his pledge to deliver change. Here was part of his New Year's address. Have a look.
Until you can look forward and believe in the promise and the prosperity of Britain again, then this government will fight for you. A fight for change that will define this year, next year, and indeed every waking hour of this government.
Esther, I don't even think this guy believes himself. How much optimism is there that he will actually make genuine change?
The answer to that will be zero. That New Year's announcement went down like a lead balloon. There is really no optimism in the country to be found.
First up on our political roast, Keir Starmer. Yes, our very own Labour leader is now the punchline of international banter, especially down under in Australia. Apparently, even Aussies known for their robust sense of humour and love for a good ribbing are giving Starmer a hard time. Imagine the Aussie comment, "Starmer? Mate, even a kangaroo would hop away from his policies." It seems our dear Starmer has managed to offend even the sunburnt country of Oz. And if that doesn't give you a chuckle, just think, if the Aussies, who usually keep their opinions to themselves, are talking smack, we must be in for some truly turbulent times at home.
Now, you mentioned earlier Sadiq Khan, of course, the London mayor. He has been awarded a knighthood in the New Year's honours list. Esther, some have said that this decision makes the UK the laughingstock. How on earth did he get this honour?
Well, again, if you're one of the Labour Party's buddies, if you're part of their client groups, you obviously get a gong, even if it's for failure. London has become unrecognisable since 2016, since Sadiq Khan became the mayor. It has become more dangerous.
Now, while Starmer's busy getting roasted by our Aussie mates, something else is brewing. Reform UK is topping the polls, and not by a whisker, but by a considerable margin. Years of watching the political left stumble over itself, it's no surprise that the public is looking for an alternative. I mean, when your party's slogan might as well be, "We're tired of being bludgeoned by the same old broken promises," you naturally start exploring new options.
The problem with the Labour Party is they say one thing and they do the other. Unless you're a union or a train driver here in the UK, you really feel like Labour is only out there to benefit its client groups and basically give nods to its friends a la Sadiq Khan. But if you're really a pensioner, if you're a farmer, if you're a student, if you're just a working person trying to be productive, pay taxes, take care of your families, the Labour Party has nothing to offer you. If anything, they're detrimental.
And here we are. Thousands of voters saying, enough is enough, let's put some sense and a bit of common decency back into our politics. Reform UK, with its fresh ideas and no-nonsense approach, appears to be the only ticket out of the current political muck. Let's take a quick stroll down memory lane. 14 long years of Conservative rule. Yes, the same party that once prided itself on fiscal prudence has, over the decades, steered our country to the left so far that even a compass would get confused. It seems that as the Tories drifted away from their traditional values, voters started wondering if they were even in the right boat anymore. And now, as more and more voters abandon the Conservatives, we shouldn't be shedding tears. In fact, a few tears might just be for the Conservatives themselves, who seem to be losing grip on their own party. Reform UK is emerging as a beacon of hope for those who believe that the time has come to reclaim a true Conservative spirit, one that isn't mired in the bureaucratic excesses of the left. And speaking of change, how about that Unite the Kingdom rally in central London? Thousands gathered to make a stand, and naturally a few troublemakers got a bit too enthusiastic. 6 brave souls were arrested. It's the sort of scene that reminds you that while our political leaders are busy debating policies, the people are taking matters into their own hands. And frankly, isn't that a bit more honest than the endless spin coming from Westminster?
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. It's always jobs for the mates, as they say. Esther Kraku, good to see you. Happy New Year. Thank you very much for joining me on the show this evening.
Now, let's discuss about Labour's track record of deceiving the very people they claim to champion. Pensioners who rely on a fixed income have been hit hardest by Labour's grand promises of a better future. Instead, they've been left watching as their hard-earned savings disappear into the abyss of mismanagement. And it doesn't stop there. The working class, the backbone of our economy, are also feeling the pinch. Small businesses, those valiant fighters keeping our shops open and our tea hot, are left scrambling as Labour's policies sink deeper into chaos. It's as if Starmer and his pals have taken the art of deception to a whole new level, leaving us all wondering, when will we get what was promised? And then there's Reeves, yes, Reeves alongside Starmer, a duo that might very well go down in history as some of the worst politicians to have ever graced our top seats of power. How did we get here? Well, if you've been paying attention, it's clear that while they were busy blaming the previous Conservative government for every little mishap, they were also busy making the very same mistakes themselves. Every tax hike, every underwhelming policy, every mismanaged budget, they've been passing the buck so expertly you'd think it was a national sport. And let's be honest, if this is the best we've got from our political elite, then perhaps it's time for a complete overhaul.
Now, you are in London, so we've got to talk about what's going on between Trump and the UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. He has spoken to Keir Starmer 6 days after returning to the White House.
So, what does all this mean for us? Well, let's face it, the era of Reeves and Starmer is looking less like a golden age and more like a comedy of errors. They promised to steer the ship clear of rocky waters, yet here we are, watching the vessel sink one policy blunder at a time.
Let's just look back at some of the remarks that Keir Starmer has made about Donald Trump in the past.
I wouldn't want Donald Trump round for dinner, but don't underestimate the danger to the world if Trump is re-elected this time around. I'm anti-Trump. I would like to send my warmest congratulations to President Trump on his inauguration as the 47th President of the United States.
Oh, it is so uncomfortable to watch him say he'd like to send his warmest congratulations to Trump.
Yeah, the robot malfunctioned, didn't he? Like, he's awkward and uncomfortable to watch at the best of times, but particularly in that instance.
With disillusionment reaching fever pitch, it's no wonder that the latest polls show Reform UK leading the charge. Voters are tired of empty promises and endless blame games. They want a party that's unafraid to say what's on their mind, even if that means ruffling a few feathers in the process. After all, if the current political landscape is a recipe for disaster, why not try a fresh, no-nonsense approach? Reform UK's rise isn't just a fluke, it's a clear signal from the people. It's time for leaders who will actually put the nation first, instead of playing the blame game with every failed policy.
I want to go to the UK. We've been talking here about farmers speaking out against these inheritance taxes, or basically death taxes. They say it could threaten food security and the sector. But Michael, what's interesting here, there's been a petition. Now, under the UK parliamentary rules, if 100,000 people sign a petition, that petition has to be debated on the floor of the Commons. This is a petition that says you must call a general election, and it's got 2.5 million signatures. I don't think we've ever seen a government start so poorly, have we?
It's time to stop crying over spilt tea and start demanding a government that actually delivers. Britain deserves leaders who won't blame every misstep on their predecessors, but will instead take responsibility for their own actions. And if that means embracing Reform UK, then perhaps it's a sign of the times, a signal that change isn't just coming, It's already here. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the latest political mess. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your mates, and subscribe for more biting commentary on our beloved British politics. Until next time, remember, in the great circus of politics, sometimes the clowns are in charge, and it's up to us to demand a better show.